Hi guys, so I'm gonna wait for you guys to log in while I go through what I'm currently doing in actual fact. So it is obviously a Friday Reads, as the title suggests. That's all the lives I ever do on here are Friday Reads, but I wanted to let you know that I am watching. Hopefully it's not gonna go off. Season 6 of How to Get Away with Murder. I am on episode 4 of 15. I obviously mean to finish it this weekend, so I will finish it this weekend. I just have my work cut out for me. However, I'm just so fascinated about how all of these characters are messed up. These people are messed up. Like, they are going through the most and have no fear of consequence, no understanding of consequence, no comprehension of what happens when you do A, what happens when you do B. So I'm just like wondering how this last season is going to go. I'm talking about How to Get Away with Murder season 6, and I've just gotten into it now. So while I'm waiting for everybody else to join, I'm just telling you guys how I've been finding it. And I really like, my biggest fascination really is, how do you bring together a cast of, but I guess that's what Shonda does, if we're being honest. Shonda is notorious for bringing together a group of broken people and putting them together in a cast, well, characters, that is, broken characters, putting them together in a cast and allowing them to live together in as messed up form as possible, because she did that with The Private Practice, she did that with Grey's Anatomy, she definitely did that with The Fixer. I just think that this is just her thing, because then that explains How to Get Away with Murder as well. And I don't know how many times, I'm only on episode 4, but how many times is Annalise gonna die on here? Anyway, hi Charles, I'm just waiting to see who else is gonna come on. As usual, I usually give about 2 to 3 minutes after 6, and then I will start with my books that I read in the past week. How are you doing? How did your previous reading week go? I'm still trying to figure out if this is the perfect time for you guys. So you guys will let me know, perhaps in the comment section down below, what time you think Friday reads should be. I first started off doing Friday reads at 4:30, and then I realized that sometimes I couldn't make that time because I finish work exactly at around about 4:30 or 4 o'clock on a Friday, depending on how fast I've been with my day on that particular Friday. So then I moved it to 6, but I'm just wondering if 6 o'clock is the perfect time for you guys. Hi Somali, we're still waiting on people to come through. I was just catching up Charles, letting him know that I've been watching season 6 of How to Get Away with Murder, and I'm just fascinated with how Shonda is always bringing together such flawed characters and forcing them to live together. I just don't, it's just How to Get Away with Murder, and everybody else who's in AK's team, they just messed up. Like, every single episode is a shock for me. Nothing gets better. It's always shock after shock after shock. Hi Mahlati. Okay, Charles says he's good. Haven't been able to read much. You're studying. I get it. I'm also feeling like I'm in somewhat of a slump, but it's not as bad as previous slumps. So I think I can start now, because like I say, I always wait for like about 3 minutes past 6 before I start. I'll start and catch you up on what I've been reading. But like I'm saying, currently my current obsession is finishing season 6 of How to Get Away with Murder. I see Charles says they got lost in the third season of How to Get Away with Murder. I need to rewatch. I've been catching up all year, to be honest. I did feel like I wasn't getting into all of the new stuff, so I was having a little bit of nostalgia, and I was getting into older shows that I enjoyed, and I picked How to Get Away with Murder, but it got a bit too much for me, I want to say, at the end of season 4, so I let it rest for a while. So I recently started season 5. I finished it yesterday, so now I'm on season 6, episode 4. I want to finish it this weekend though, because I don't think I can drag it. This thing does require a lot of emotion to come out of you. Never mind that every episode somebody's always shouting, they're always up here with the emotions, and it brings you up here with the emotions as well, which is really it's a lot. So last week, reading wise, I managed to finish 2 books. I don't know if you guys saw my post about 2 weeks ago when I was asking 2 weeks or 1.5 weeks ago when I was asking about any audio romance books that you guys can recommend that I can get off Audible. That is a genre that I've been neglecting, and obviously the only thing that I think when I think romance is 50 Shades, so I really did want to fix my perception of that genre before I think about buying physical books of that nature. So somebody did recommend that I read the Flatshare by Beth O'Leary, I think. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the narration because it was narrated from 2 perspectives, and even the audio had 2 voices in it. And I think it's an Irish author, but the setting is definitely set in Ireland, and the accents are there, and there's a lot of whimsical nature around. Sorry if you guys can hear my kids, please forgive me. There's a lot of the whimsical nature around their characters, very playful, very innocent as well, for I want to say grown-ups, because they are both, I think, in their 30s, and I really enjoyed seeing the love story from both perspectives, and I enjoyed the playfulness as well as seeing how real they were. None of them, I felt, by falling in love, lost themselves, and I think this is a trope that we see a lot, especially in these kind of I'll go back to things like Twilight, in these kind of romance novels, where we see that in order to fall in love, you have to lose yourself. I don't know how else to explain that, but what I enjoyed about the Flatshare is that both these characters fell in love in spite of their flaws, in spite of themselves, and I think that that's what made that story so wonderful for me. And I think that the island setting was really very beautiful for me to see, especially in terms of the audibility of it, because I think they chose the right people to narrate it on Audible. So I absolutely loved it. I can't show it to you guys obviously because it was an Audible read, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So the other book that I finished last week, and I see Bukamuso is on here. I finished Hlomu the Wife. You guys know my initial schlep with this book. I had to get over myself because Dudu does serve a great story in here. She might serve too much of a great story, in the sense that I really do think that she does too much for one book in here. But boy oh boy does she set us up for the second book, which I've got sitting somewhere there, which is called Zandile the Resolute, which is the next book in the series. So this is the first book in the Hlomu series, called Hlomu the Wife. She really did a good job. Let's forgive her for the grammar, and I really don't know what her explanation is for that, for not refining that. But wow, I loved this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars when, like I'm saying, I got over the grammar. So I finished that. Bugomuso and Bookish Nontli and I are discussing it tomorrow. I can't wait to hear what they thought of it. So those are the books that I finished last week. So those are 2 books. And I'm so excited because that put me on 26 books for this year. My target for the year is 30 books, which means I've got 4 books to go. I cannot wait. I don't know if you guys saw my update early this morning at about 2 o'clock. I've been having little bouts of insomnia. I'm not an insomniac. I have no trouble sleeping. So when that does happen, it does bother me a little bit because I really don't understand not that I don't understand. I know exactly the kind of things that keep me up at night, but I hate it because I'm not somebody who struggles with sleep. Anyway, yesterday I decided to look through my Audible and to check what free books they have on there. And they happen to have had Geekerella on there. I started Geekerella night or early this morning, and I think I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm not too sure. I know there was a buzz about it a few years ago, but like I'm saying, I'm trying to get into romance and see what's there that is within my interest. So I'll see how that goes. I am also still listening to, guys, help me because this is not working out. I'm listening to The Handmaid's Tale on Audible, and the last time I checked in with you guys, I said I struggled to read it because I'd watched the series. So I decided that, okay, fine, since I'm struggling with the physical book, let me see if I can read along on Audible. I really think that the problem on Audible is the narrator's voice. It's so solemn. I can't explain it. It's just too sad. And I know she's telling what should be a doom and gloom story, but she's really bothering me. I've tried to fast pace her. It's also not helping. It's too airy. It's too, I don't know, for me. I don't know if I'm going to end up actually opening the book itself again, but there's no way that I'm taking this book into 2021. So I have to finish it. So I am still listening to that on Audible. I'm still very far. I probably have like 9 hours left to go off the book. And then the other book that I'm still going to go through bit by bit on Audible is still The Chronicles of Narnia. I am on book 2, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I'm left with about an hour 45 minutes for that, so I'll probably finish it in the next week, and then I'll get into the next one. I also want to finish the series this year, so I'm really enjoying it. Actually, it's really one of those, you could even call it a palate cleanser for me, because it's very light. The lessons are very clear. It's very C.S. Lewis. It's very C.S. Lewis. If you think about him with things like Alice in Wonderland, it's filled with a lot of innuendos and lessons in it. I'm really, really enjoying it. And I hadn't read the books before. I'd heard a lot about them, but I'd never read them. So I'm still going through that series. And I'm trying to see if I can go back to my usual routine of one book at a time. I don't know, well, physical book that is. I don't know if I'll be able to, because I've got my book club that is reading for the month of October, The Fisherman by Chigozie Obiama, I want to say. He's a Nigerian author. I butcher names that I've never heard before, so I physically need to go onto Google to find out how to pronounce his name for me to know how to say it properly. So I hope that I haven't butchered it, but that's what we're reading, The Fisherman. And we've extended our deadline for The Shadow King, which I'm reading for 2 book clubs. So I'm reading this for 2 book clubs. It was meant to be the pick for September, but all of us seem to be struggling with this, mainly because of the language. Well, the style, maybe not the language, of these books. I'm in that other book club with Simole. I see she is on here. And that book club and my online book club have all asked for an extension for this, because I do think that it's requiring a lot out of all of us, and most of us got this book late because it was in demand in August, so we got it mid-September. Well, I got my copy mid-September. I am on page 112. The book is about 428 pages long. I want to read this and only this over the weekend, but tonight I'm only watching How to Get Away with Murder, so I will not be reading. However, I do think that I will be done by the end of the week. So we have moved our discussion to the second Saturday of, well, if this is the first, wow, Vuvu, the 3rd Saturday of October, which is the 17th of October. So I'm trying to see if I can read that and only that until then, but we will see, because like I'm saying, the book club that I'm in with Simole, we are reading Patsy, and then I'm also still reading the Hlomu series with Bukamuso and Bookish Nontli. So those are 3 books that I will be opening on top of whatever else I need to read this month. So we shall see how that goes. Otherwise, that's what I have on here, and I'm so very excited to have only 4 books left on my target of 30 books. You guys don't understand how excited I am. And I'm secretly hoping that I at least hit 35 or at least 40 books, so that next year I can say 50 books. By the time that I can hit 50 books, guys, I'm gone. I am gone. Otherwise, what are you guys reading? And if you can see that I'm a little bit hyper, guys, I have been having some wine. It was one of those weeks, so I forgive myself, and I am letting loose this Friday. Okay, I'm just catching up on the comments. Charles says he just bought Sunyati's third book. I can't wait for that. I'm gonna do another vlog. So one of the books that I am definitely reading this month is Sunyati's The Gold Diggers. I am gonna do a similar vlog like the one that I did for The Polygamist, because that entertained me. I hope you guys enjoyed it if you watched it on my channel. I really loved the time lapse and my reaction to the book. The Gold Diggers I do see is a little bit longer than The Polygamist, so I'll probably do that one over a 2-day vlog instead of one sitting, but I'm gonna do the same style. And then after that, I'm also getting, I think it's called Family Affair, I'm not sure, you let me know if that's the right name, but I'm definitely gonna do another vlog for Family Affair when I get it, hopefully before the year is over. Charles says, okay, fine, we saw that he got lost in season 3. Hello Pabi. Hello Bokamuso Ampile. Oh, thank you. You know, you talking about my skin. I really went through the most of my skin last year, but it paid off. I'm grateful for what I did to make sure that my skin got back. Thank you, Charlie. So you remember I was complaining about my hair, and then I still haven't done anything to it. I just took it as it was, and I decided to just do something creative because I couldn't live. And I actually think I like how this looks. I'll see if I can do it properly for the week ahead as a protective style. Oh yes, Pabi Hlomu. I didn't think that I would like it. I've been seeing your reviews, Pabi, on BookTube, as well as I want to say a time to share books. Okay. A time to read books or a time to share books. Now I've gotten that mixed up in my head. I've been seeing the reviews, but I just can't watch reviews before I've finished the book because it usually spoils for me. But I can't wait to see what you guys thought as soon as I've had the discussion tomorrow. I'm gonna go check out your guys' reviews on those books. Bokamuso says, yay, I'll co-read. We can't wait for Zandile the Resolute. Guys, I can't wait. I'm trying to think how that's gonna go. I really can't wait. Listen, we had to get over ourselves. Yeah, we had to get over the grammar, that's for sure. Yeah, we had to forgive. Pabi says she loves Mkhwela. I don't know how I feel about him. You know, there are moments where I almost feel like I love him because Hlomu loves him, but there are moments where I'm on some, what dude, like, honestly, we can't be going back to the same stumbling block in this relationship. Let's do better, please. But yes, I like him. I like him a lot because Hlomu's in love with him. I don't think that there's another reason. I don't think that I don't think that there's a redemptive nature in his character or his characterization that makes me love him in isolation of Hlomu. So I don't know. Bogomoso says she loves Nkosana, who's the eldest brother. He's got that mystery about him though. He's very commanding. At the same time, he's very mysterious. I can see why he would be appealing. Charlie says she loved the Audible version of The Handmaid's Tale. I'm really struggling, guys, and I really don't know why, because every single time I go back to that book, it's not the writing, it's not the story. I just think maybe it's a timing issue. I don't know what it is, but I promise you, the way that I'm feeling about it, I really don't want to drag it into 2021. So I do feel like I'll force feed myself this book one way or another. If it's not working on Audible, it has to work on the physical copy. Otherwise, no. Oh, that's why you could listen to the Audible, because you did not watch the TV show. So I got hooked on the TV show before I even realized that it was actually a book. And then I realized that the way that she depicted her dystopian story was very intriguing to me. That's why I wanted to read the book. And when I got the book beginning of this year, I struggled to get to even 100 pages. I really struggled. And when I saw that struggle and I got onto Audible, I decided, okay, maybe I can co-read with Audible, and then that wasn't working out for me either. And I think it is because, and I've been explaining this a lot, that I think it is because somebody else imagined the setting, the characters, etc. for me. And I usually do struggle with that because it almost makes my brain so lazy, and at the same time I feel like internally I chastise myself to say, but what do you think? Do you think that what you had been fed on a visual platform is exactly what you would have predicted or imagined if you had read this on your own. And obviously there's no knowing, because I can't take back the fact that I've already seen the show. I've seen the show. But it's really a struggle. It's a struggle for me. Bogomosa says, I also get hooked by the narrators. Hey, I'm not feeling the narration. If I'm not feeling the narration, I'm gone. And that's the thing. So I tried to see if there's another narrator for the Handmaid's Tale, and I didn't see an alternative. So I guess I'm stuck with that lady unless I read the book physically. Which, like I said, everything is a struggle. Narration is key. You're right, Charlie. I should give Audible a try. It's really worth it. For me, if you saw last year, I did have a whole video going on about how I don't consider listening to books equaling reading books. However, that does not mean that you don't know the story, because if somebody is reading you a story, you're as good as having read the story, right? But I don't think that I enjoy people passing it on as pure reading, which is why I'm always fast to let you know that it's an Audible, etc., etc. However, what I've been doing is that I've been picking up Audible versions of books that I already have in physical form. And because I've been trying to read more from the African continent, I've been listening a lot to Audible from other parts of the world. And when I'm struggling, like I was a little bit with Liba Dugo's Warbringer, I open the actual book and actually read along, which actually does help. And for some reason, for me, that was a good thing for being zen, calming down, etc., etc. I don't know how to explain that, but it really did help with my anxiety a bit. But most of the time, because I'm doing it in the background while I'm working, I listen more than I read along. So you should try it out. You'll find that it actually works, especially if like you're a person who's always busy. So if you're always doing grocery shopping or running around on errands, etc., etc., if you put your headphones or your earphones onto your head or your ear, then you will be happy to know that your time is not wasted. By the time you're done, an hour's worth of Audible is a long time. And you'll be happy to know that it's another book almost finished. Bukamuso says we should really give audiobooks a try. So this week I downloaded Scribed once again. Try it. I've heard about that one. I haven't tried it out yet though, but do try it. It's really hard to get into, especially if you're somebody who loves reading, which is why I think that the way that I did it by listening to books that I have physical copies too really did help me, because like I'm saying, when I felt like I couldn't listen any longer, I could open my books a lot and read along, which really did help me. Charlie says, I live Scribed, but the app keeps crashing, but they say they're about to update the app this week. So I'm assuming they probably have a great catalog as well. Like I'm saying, I haven't tried them out. I don't know anything aside from Audible, so I will not be able to comment on that. But I do presume a lot of these audio platforms have a lot of good catalogs there, and probably a few free things as well if you wanted to try out before you actually subscribed to them. Bukamasa says, so glad to know about book clubs are extending their dates. To know this is such a relief. That's true, because there's nothing that you like. For me, I think that the wealth of a book club is the discussion. Anybody who's in any book club that I'm in will know that even with Bugomuso and Nonhle, I think that with the buddy read, they probably thought, Sisi, you need to hush up. I love the discussion. I'll drive the discussion anytime that I can, because I really am intrigued to know what other people thought about the things that I discovered, and if we saw the same things or if we didn't. So the pleasure for me comes from the discussion, and we can't discuss if we haven't read, if all of us have not been able to finish reading. And we need to be able to understand that even as bookish people, life happens to us all, right? So sometimes you might not be able to meet the deadline. The only best way for that is for you to just speak up and be honest and to say, listen, life happened, couldn't meet the deadline, and this is where we find ourselves. And that way we can all be on the same page and say, okay, fine, we'd rather discuss as a unit, or okay, fine, Vuvu, if you're the only one who hasn't been able to meet the deadline, sorry, we're gonna have to continue without you. But either way, I think that people need to have those upfront and honest discussions, instead of perhaps going into a discussion without you finishing the book and finding that people are either spoiling you for the book or you actually being caught out for being a fraud. Okay. So Molly says, reading The Shadow King, obviously, because we're all in this, guys. This is We are all in this dilemma. It's such a beautiful book, but I really do think that when academics write, it's a different type. And like by that I mean when they write fiction, it's a different type of book that you will engage with. And I think that that is obvious in Maaza's writing, that she is somebody who is very scholared in terms of the English language and the whole idea of storytelling. And so how she has brought together, for what I'm trying to get at is that this is not commercial fiction. This is not something that you can pick up, get through in one sitting. This is not something that you can pick up and not need to write notes. This is not something that you can pick up and not think of other what do you call this, literary devices like foreshadowing, etc. You have to really be in the story for it to make sense to you. Otherwise you will get lost, and it will be a waste of your money if you get lost. So rather you took the time to get what she was trying to do with this book than to try and rush through it. And I think that allowing yourself that courtesy is okay. Yes, Sue's next book is called Family Affair. Mahlati says, I'm currently reading Do My Key by Stephen King. I haven't heard of that. You know what? I've got a Stephen King book that I've been thinking I want to start, but somebody told me that it's part of a series, and I was like, I don't know much about Stephen. Obviously, the It's and whatever, those we know, but I don't know much about his other books, so I don't know. I think the book that I've got is called Doctor Sleep, but apparently it's part of a series, and I haven't gotten around to it because I don't have the other books. Bokamuso says, I'm currently reading Queenie. I got Queenie yesterday. Well, it got delivered yesterday. And supposed to be reading a PDF copy for a review. But I'm struggling getting into a book via my phone. Dude, you know what? What you're saying right now is my biggest struggle. And I had a few authors during lockdown reaching out to me. And I absolutely sympathize and empathize with them. So I allowed them to send me ebooks, and I've probably been apologizing every week or in any possible form that I can about me not getting to those books, because it is really not a platform that I know how to engage in. And I hope and I wish people would understand that it's not that I don't want to read your book. I'm obviously a very curious reader. If you can see the kind of taste, well, I don't know if my taste is even clear because I literally read very diversely. But my issue is I really can't read from my phone. I can't read from a laptop. I can't read from a tab. I just can't do electronic reading unless I'm sitting here saying I'm reading news online. I'm reading a blog, but I really cannot read from a book from a device, and therefore those books have been sitting there, and most of them are really not that long, but I'm really struggling, and I feel so bad. And the thing is, I did mention to the authors before that this is not something that I do. I don't take ebooks because I know that I will never get to your book if I take it in ebook form. But like I'm saying, with the lockdown, especially initially and everything that was going on, I really felt for them, and I really did want to read their books and say a thing or two about them, about how I felt about them, or what their story is. I'm really struggling, but that is one mission I have to overcome again before December, because I really don't want to be dragging no ebooks into 2021. No, thank you. No. So what's the rest of you guys reading? I've seen what Simole is reading. I've seen what Bukamuso is reading. What's everybody else reading? Otherwise, as always, I always do this recap just in case anyone missed it. So last week I managed to finish the Flatshare by, I'm gonna mess up her surname, Beth O'Leary. Anyway, Beth wrote the Flatshare. Apparently it was one of the best audiobooks of 2019. So it's a romance. I'd asked for recommendations here on on IG, and somebody recommended that for me, and I listened to it via Audible because I'm trying to see if I can get into the romance genre or not. So I think audiobooks are a good way for me to find out if it's something that would work for me or not. The other book that I finished last week was Hlomu the Wife, which I'm buddy reading with Ompila from Bokomuso as well as Bookish Nontli. And then I am listening to The Handmaid's Tale on Audible, as well as The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is book 2 in the Chronicles of Narnia. I also started Geekerella yesterday, so I'm listening to those 3 on Audible. But this weekend, not tonight, because tonight I'm watching How to Get Away with Murder. I will be reading The Shadow King throughout this weekend. I'm really hoping that I can get to at least 320 pages, so it would leave me with about 108 pages to go for the rest of the week. So that's my aim, to read about 200 pages this week. This weekend I am currently on page 112, and this is a book that we are reading for 2 book clubs that I'm part of. So that's me. Yeah. And like I'm saying, my biggest excitement is that I'm 4 books away from reaching 30 books. If you guys want to know, last year's book count was 20 books. That was the target that I set for was it the target that I set for myself? I don't even know. But I did 20 books last year, and I think the year before I had done 12. So I'm really always trying to push a little further than I was. So if I can do more than 30 this year, then next year I'm definitely doing 40, which would be an excitement. And then probably the following year it will be 50. We shall see. Bokomuso is currently reading Queenie. Oh, we've seen that, yeah. And Mahlazi says Duma Key is a scary read. Oh my gosh. But why is Stephen always trying to get into people's psyche? Because that's what I've heard about him from people who really enjoy him. I don't know if you guys follow Transky Meg here on IG, but she's a big Stephen King fan. She's based in Coffee Bay in the Eastern Cape, so she's kind of like my homegirl. I really enjoy her content. She loves Stephen King and Agatha Christie. But my thing with Stephen is that everybody always talks about how he's always trying to mess with your psyche. And I'm one of those people, even with the news, if I see something that boggles my mind, I struggle to sleep. So I don't know if I'd be able to read his books and still be able to sleep. I really don't. I don't know. But I'll see what the series with Dr. Sleep is all about, and maybe I'll get into him through that series. We shall see. Otherwise, that's all I've got for you guys. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And have a great reading weekend and reading week. I'll catch up with you guys again next week, Friday at 6 p.m. And until next time, I really do love you guys for choosing me. Bye.